think he was the one that picked me up and apparently like put me on the back of the ski and I was just lifeless. I think they were trying to talk to me, but I was pretty non-responsive. But I was obviously sitting upright and like I was fine. It's not like I drowned or anything like that.
Shane Ackerman, mad astronaut in the ocean, mate. How are ya?
Good, mate. How are you?
Fucking powering, mate. We finally got it done. I wanted to start with that because that short film was sick. Like the name is perfect as well because your experience, man, these waves are so foreign to me and probably most other people out there that you may as well be an astronaut. And I do want to get into a few of those experiences today and learn a bit about you. But mate, can you start to tell me about that film, how that all came to be? Because Yeti did that with you and it turned out epic.
Yeah, I'm really stoked with how it come out. You know, it's pretty daunting putting yourself out there like that. Well, for me anyway, I kind of like to think I hide a little bit with the old social media world. But I was actually at a filmer mate, Hayden Griffiths, and we were planning to do a film piece. And I'd had a few filmers over the years like wanting to do a piece on us, but just nothing ever come about. And then I had a random call from Ray Collins, and I hadn't talked to Ray in years at this time, and I was like, "This is weird. Like, I wonder what? Maybe it's a pocket dial." Anyway, I answered, and then he said, "Do you want to do a a film piece with Yeti?" And I was like, "Yeah, like no worries, kind of thing." And I was like, "Yeti, like, aren't they like coolers?" I didn't know much about him at the time, and kind of committed to it. And then he goes, "Oh, I'll send you a link and like connect you with these guys and rada rada rada." And then fast forward, I can't even remember the time between it all, but I got on like a Zoom meeting with him and had a bit of a chit chat and stuff. And then I had some friends in Sydney that knew who was directing my piece, and they're like, "Oh, Keith Malloy's doing your piece," and I'm like, "Who's Keith Malloy?" I didn't know who he was, but he's a bit of now. I've fast learnt that he's a bit of an icon in the surfing world, and we actually planned to do the piece in 2020, April 2020, I think. The month that COVID shut down Australia was the month that they were meant to come out and do it all. So I just assumed it got put on the back burner, and then I kind of was like gallivanting around, dodging all the COVID hotspots and trying to live freely in that weird time, and ended up in WA. And I think I spent like 12 months, maybe a bit longer offline, just doing whatever. I kind of go on a few hiatuses from the old social world.
You're a bit of a ghost.
Yeah. And then I think Ray or they hit me up on WhatsApp or something like that, and they were like, "Are you still keen to do this piece?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Like I just assumed, when we open back up, it'll happen. And I didn't find out until after that actually burnt the budget on something else, which is pretty standard for big companies like that. And then someone within Yeti, I'd been told, come back to the boys and was like, "What's happening with that Shane piece?" And they're like, "Oh, we spent the budget the month after we got it cancelled." And they're like, "Nah, like we want to do it. Like go and follow up and see if he's still keen." And the rest is history.
So it took when it only came out this year, wasn't it?
Come out this year, and we finished it. We actually finished it a week before I got that big one at Chopes in 2022.
Far out. So you finished it back then, and it's taken 3 years to come out.
Yeah. I think because of the COVID delays, just backlog, or that's what I've been told. But I don't know. But I've known about it and watched it a million times before it even got
How
released.
frustrating is that? And what about the reception of it when it actually came out? Because I mean, I watched it. Obviously, I probably watched it 3 or 4 times. It's pure inspiration. But how did that all hit?
I think I needed it to come out online because to me it was not that the novelty had worn off of watching it, but you're sitting down watching yourself. It's kind of pretty bit of homage kind of thing.
Yeah.
But no, it seemed to be received quite well. I've bumped into random people over the last few months, or just like constantly messages drip feeding into my DMs and stuff. And I try and respond to everyone, but then there's times where I get pretty burnt out with social media and just take probably weeks or just forget about replying to some people.
Disappear for 6 months.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, I love it. Well, it was epic, mate. I hope heaps of stuff comes from that. And Yeti, yeah, they do heaps of clips like that, which I didn't actually know either until I watched your one. But they seem to lean into it a bit, which is good. All right. So take me back to where it all began, man. Hometown, upbringing, and leading into the obsession with bodyboarding.
Born and raised in Wollongong. Uh, Grew up just a normal kid. I actually went to Illawarra Sports High, this sports feeding school full of jocks. Like a lot of the people that are in the NRL are actually like I went to school with, which is quite funny because I don't even follow the sport. Um, yeah, and I think towards the later years in my high school, I kind of summer holidays come around, your big 6 weeks off, and a few mates were like, "Oh, I want to come down the beach and come for a surf." And I actually just borrowed a family friend through surf club, their son's bodyboards, cardboard wetsuit, basically. Like, just I think I bought a $30 pair of Ocean Earth fins, like, as you do when you start out, you don't go to the top. And I just hung out at the beach for those 6 weeks, and we kind of just loved doing it. But I didn't think it would take me to where I am now. Like yeah, if you think back to back then, it's kind of like a crazy, crazy look back of where it all started and how it's unfolded.
And did you have any unnatural talent, or you were just out there loving it, same as everyone else, just having a bit of fun?
Yeah, I was just out there having fun. Like I was a kook. I didn't know how to bottom turn. Probably still don't.
I'm with you. So how did it step up though into all the serious shit?
um, I think my cousin was into it. He's a bit young. He's like 2 years younger than me. And he was actually really good. He loved doing his spinners and like he was good at his tech side of things. And I guess I started hanging out with him and he was like, "Oh man, you've got to come down and surf this Mystics beach break. Like we'll catch the train at 4 in the morning and like it's amazing." And I guess just getting exposed to broaden horizons and one thing led to another and then I started like kind of almost following in his footsteps to a degree. And then I don't know where or how it come about, but I ended up meeting a guy, Simon Longhurst, and he kind of took me under his wing. I can't remember how it all come about, but once I kind of started hanging out with him, I guess he had his license and we'd go down the coast to Bawley Point and he kind of showed me all these different waves. And I guess um, him being such a good surfer himself, you kind of if your peers are good at surfing, you kind of pick up tricks just being around them in a sense. So yeah, I hung out with him for ages, and one thing that stuck with me that he said years and years ago, and I probably took it to the extreme, whether he's aware of it or not, but he said to me, he goes, "How many people do you honestly see getting hurt during like sessions?" I said, "Oh, not many." And I think this is when I was starting to kind of get introduced to bigger waves, like kind of 6 foot range. I was like, "Oh, none." He goes, "Well, what do you got to worry about? Like, there's nothing to be scared of." And then I just kind of took it like, "Well, yeah, you've got a point. Like, let's just go hell for leather and, and see how far we can push it."
Yeah. And have you copped
So,
any bad injuries over the years?
touch wood, I've never been put out of the water from an injury.
Shit. Well, when we run through a
Yeah.
few of these waves, people will actually know what you're talking about if they don't already, because they should. Because your waves, man, like whenever you do a post or something, I get so excited to watch it. But I won't jump too far forward. So you mentioned up to sort of 6 foot. Now you're going out in stuff that, like, it's the most sickening waves I've ever seen. I love watching it. I won't ever go out in it. But how did you gradually step up to there? Because you don't have those swells, especially like off Sydney or anything. They're not here every week. So you can't be out there gradually going 6.5 foot, 7 foot, and then thicker and thicker and thicker. Like there's got to be sort of leaps and bounds, I guess, stepping up to those crazy waves. So how did you manage that?
Um, I don't. It's such a blur, honestly. Like, I don't even know where the steps come from. Like, I kind of remember leaving school, hanging out with mates, my cousin introducing me to a few different waves. I can't even remember how Simon and I met. and then him exposing me to the South Coast, and then I think I went to the mines in Singleton and worked up there for a few years, got my traineeship, and then surfing was kind of limited. Kind of went through like the whole, you've left school, you kind of don't know what you're doing. I was a pretty depressed little kid, didn't really feel like I fitted into society, I guess, and surfing ended up being my escape. And then I met a few guys from, oh, I can't remember how I met them, but like I met a guy, Max Dodgson, David Selby, Mark Clinton, and they started chasing Luna Park, and somehow I got roped into that, probably through surfing Kaima Bommy, which I guess this makes sense. So yeah, surfing Kaima Wedge out the back is the Bommy, and I guess we always, as Groms, like, were watching that going like, oh, let's get out there, let's get out there. It was kind of always in the background and it was always talked about. And then that was kind of my introduction. And I think that's maybe where I've potentially met Simon, is through the exposure that wave gave me, I guess. And then I've met Max and those boys, and then every weekend I'd finish like a 14-hour day in Singleton, drive to Picton Road, hop in a car, drive all night, surf for 4 or 5 hours, and then drive home, and then drive back up to Singleton and go work another full week.
Jeez.
And I was doing like, we'd go down a couple of times a month. Like, it was insane how much we chased that joint. And then I can't remember who I was talking to, but someone was like, "Man, you got to go and surf other waves. Like there's better waves than Luna Park." And we were just fixated on Lunas. It was just like that was the only place that mattered. And then, honestly, I don't know how or where it come from, but I guess Lunas, I guess Bommy to Lunas to the world,
To the world.
basically.
Because what year was
Yeah.
all this sort of developing? Obviously now you're still doing it now, which is sick. But back in the day when you first started chasing waves across the world, when did that all start to develop?
Maybe like 2013, something like that. 2013, 2014, I reckon.
So it was probably early sort of days of social media and everything. So you probably had to do pretty solid research into where you're going.
Yeah, Instagram wasn't a thing when I was starting. I think it was just Facebook. Yeah,
MySpace,
probably just.
Facebook.
Yeah, I don't think I was. No, yes, I was. I was bodyboarding when MySpace was still a thing, because I remember uploading photos of Kaima Bommy
Oh, did
on
you?
my MySpace profile.
That's where it
Yeah,
began.
yeah, that's where it began. So yeah, like Instagram wasn't really a thing, and the funny thing was, Instagram come out, yeah, probably when I was chasing Lunas and I was in the mines, because my mate Ben Sowry, he was like, "Man, you got to get Instagram. It's the way of the future." And I've always been a stubborn bastard. Like, everyone knows that. And he was like, "Yeah, you got to get Instagram." And I was like, "Nah." And for the first like year or two, he made my Instagram. And because he was a photog and he used to follow us on these things, he ran my account.
Oh, no
Like,
way.
yeah, I just refused to use it. So if he got a good shot of us, he'd upload it. And then like do whatever he done. And then eventually, I guess he kind of kept showing me stuff, and then I took it over and probably didn't do much with it until. I still don't think I do that much with it. I'm probably more active than I've ever been now, but yeah, compared to a lot of people, I think I probably don't touch it that much.
Man, yours is quality though. It's not quantity, it is quality. Everything you post is like, fuck, it makes me sick.
Yeah, well,
It's
I
the
guess
best things
that's
ever.
yeah, that's kind of how I've always wanted to run it. I've like, if I'm going to post something, I want it to be quality. I don't care about quantity. Like, what's the point in posting 1,000 things if like people get sick of it straight away? If I want to post something, I want you to stop, look at it, appreciate it, and talk about it, think about it, whatever it is. I want it to have an impact, because for me, that growing up, we had magazines. You'd open that magazine, you'd flick through it, and the impact that had growing up, I guess I've kind of tried to do the same thing, but in the social media setting.
Yeah, and you're nailing it too. Because like I said, I sometimes just randomly jump on your account just to check, just to make sure I haven't missed anything. So there's definite quality there.
Thanks.
But mate, I'd ask what your other half, Lucy, thinks about all this too. But I'm pretty sure she's just as crazy as you.
Well,
And we've got to get her on for a chat too.
I was gonna say you might have to get her on to kind of dive into that world of things. I can't really speak on her behalf.
Do you both push each other though, man? Because I see her like jumping out at ship sterns, spearing massive doggies, all this stuff. That's like that's crazy too. That's out there.
Yeah, she's definitely got a few screws loose, that's for sure. And yeah, like I think the funny thing with her is she's always like, "Oh, that's hectic, that's this," and it's just like she doesn't realize she's actually got a crazy skill set and she's got the right mindset to do crazy things, evidently.
Yeah, very
Uh,
evidently.
yeah, and I think like, there's times where I'm like, come on, come out here. And if she's not in the right headspace, she wigs out and goes, I can't do this, I can't do that. And I'm just like, you can do anything already that you've put your mind to. Like, what, get on top of it and get out there kind of thing. There's definitely times where I don't, I'm probably, yeah, I don't let her have a sook to me. I'm just like, just get out there and have a crack. Like, I'm pretty firm with her.
But then she does it and she nails it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, the thing is, I guess through my own personal experiences, I've never, I'd like to think I have a pretty good grasp on what I throw her into, and I know where her ability is probably better than herself at times, and that's why I push her to get into these situations because at the end of the day, it's kind of like, well, I know your ability and I know you're going to be confident. Obviously, you're not in the right headspace, but just get in there and have a crack. Like, you'll be fine. And worst case scenario, you get a wave on the head or whatever it is. Like, I'm kind of always close by to come and help if need be, which has never been the case.
Yeah, no, she's crushing it, and we will definitely get her on here soon enough to have a chat because she's got so many stories I want to hear about. But we'll move forward a bit, mate. I saw this comment from you, and this comment, like, this is fucking heavy. So the comment was that you feed off fear in the lineup, and that the bigger hitters in the lineup, the more you feed, essentially. Like, that is such an epic comment, and I do want to dive into that and understand it a bit better. But have you ever had times or periods on your come up where you were the one in a bit of fear, or where it stopped you in any way?
Oh, I think naturally we all have fear. It's just how you deal with it. Some people let it cripple them, and then others, they blossom, essentially.
And you blossom. Do you
Yeah, I
have
don't
any
know.
like little strategies or anything you use to work through it?
Oh, to be honest, I'm pretty desensitized by it all these days. I
Mm.
think like if you had me a few years ago, I'd probably be able to like dissect all this stuff a lot better. But for me, it's just like a guy walking to the pub in a sense. Like I'm not really,
That's just what you do.
yeah, exactly. Like I've spent so much time being exposed to it. And I think that's probably it. Like exposure therapy, um, is a big part of it. And I guess I've created a life where I can put myself in those positions more often than not because as most people are aware, being a bodyboarder, like you're not getting paid to do this. It's pretty hard to have a job and chase all these things. And I think one thing, it's funny, I had a discussion with a guy actually last night and I find it quite humorous, but as a whole, bodyboarders get kind of put down and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I feel like we as boogers actually have the last laugh. And what I mean by that is these pro surfers, they become professionals, they make all this money, and then all of a sudden, if they're not good with their money or, they don't create brands that are successful, it comes to like, mid 30s or whatever age it is, and bang, it just stops and this lifestyle ends. And then you become an alcoholic, drug addiction, overweight, you lose your inspiration. Whereas us as bodyboarders, we're forced to work to go and chase these things. So we're in it because we want to be there, not because it's a job.
It's true though. It is true. So you're doing it purely out of love. You've built this whole thing around bodyboarding. Your whole life's built around bodyboarding, really. So you're chasing it out of that passion. But I guess explain to me that feeding on fear comment. So when everyone else is paddling out to sea, you're paddling back in. How does that motivate you? That feeding on fear.
I think it's probably like, us as bodyboarders, I think we kind of all have like a little chip on our shoulder for the exact reason we don't get paid to be out here doing it. We're out here because we love it. And it's kind of like, you know, in Tahiti, for example, that in 2022, like that lineup would have had millions of dollars of contracts. Like there was so many who's, and it was just like at the end of the day, when the biggest, craziest waves come, you can diss on Boogers all you want, but the people that are at the top of the piece, they understand it and respect it. But it's kind of like, when the big ones turn up, it's the bodyboarders who shine. And but the funny thing is, in recent times, what I've found is it's hard to shine in the lineups these days because surfers are making these vlogs, they're exposing a lot of places, and they've got to get their clicks to make, their $3 paycheck each week. And at the end of the day, so they'll start towing waves that they can't paddle, which then hinders us as bodyboarders if it's in a crowded lineup. And that's become frustrating in recent years. Well, that's been my Achilles heel forever.
Yep. Yeah, and I get what you're saying before now. So, like, even these surfers, they're not going waves. That you probably would go. And I don't know if this would be the case with you, where if you had $1 million contract, but if you get injured on that next wave, then you lose that contract. Like if you get a bad injury. So there's probably a ceiling now that they can push themselves, or that most people would push themselves to protect that income as well. So I suppose, that's a
Yeah,
limiting thing.
like, they're protecting a contract. Mate, I
Mm.
have to go to work to earn my cookies to do this, and I'm pushing the envelope more than they are do you know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
if I hurt myself, I'm out of a job and potentially like can never work again, never earn an income, or you know what I mean? Like their risk management, yeah, it's like, maybe they're being strategic about it, but I kind of just look at them and I'm just like, if I had your income, look at what I'm doing for free. You know what I mean? Like it's a bit of
Yeah.
a like fuck you mentality in a sense, and I don't have any animosity or hate, or it probably comes across that way, but it's just kind of like you can do whatever you want when you put your mind to it. And I think also with big wave surfing, you got to be confident. As soon as you got a bit of fear, like don't even bother going out, like or just that, not so much fear. As soon as you've got that you're not backing yourself kind of mentality or mindset, that's where there's no point going out because you hesitate in that type of stuff, and that's 99% of the time when people do get hurt.
Yeah. Yep, definitely. Yeah, I think it's one of my favorite things watching some of these videos like out of Tahiti and everything where a bomb's coming through and then guys are paddling out and they might have the mouth GoPro piece in or whatever, wherever they put it. And
Yeah.
the fucking bomb's coming through and they're all paddling out, screaming, going, fuck, no, no. And then they're like, oh, did someone go? They're like, yeah, fucking Shane. It was Shane. It's like, oh my God. He's a maniac. Everybody knows it. But do you get pretty recognized in lineups these days?
Definitely more so these days than obviously the early days.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess it's refreshing, you could say. Like I've always been awkward when it comes to compliments. So like if someone approaches me, I'm probably really awkward and maybe don't give them the impression that they want, because I'm just, I've always kind of felt like I've been a black sheep even at school. Like I've always kind of, I don't even touch base with anyone that I grew up with. Like I kind of just do my own thing. I've got a small circle of mates, but yeah, yeah. So I guess like I do definitely get a lot of recognition, but the hardest thing, and that's what I was saying earlier, is tow surfing has become more popular these days, and people have access to jet skis and etc. etc. And surfing is such a selfish sport to the point that like if you're towing, they'll tow like 5 waves, and you'll be sitting there patiently waiting for that one. And for me, I guess my attitude to surfing too is if you have to paddle your ass off to get onto that wave, you're in the wrong position. Like you should be able to sit there, especially from a bodyboarder. We don't have to jump to our feet. You should be able to sit on the ledge and, get enough paddle steam to get momentum to, move and get into it. But you don't need to have this crazy paddle trail at 99% of the waves that we surf. And that's like, if the other guys are getting towed in, it's so hard. Like if you were looking going, oh, is anyone going? And say, for example, I'm in the lineup, like you wouldn't even know I'm looking at it because I'll turn around and like half the big waves I've gone, I'm only doing a couple of kicks and I'm into them.
Well, we are going to dive into a couple of those stories, and a couple of them probably going to, I guess, approach on that toe in versus paddle as well. But before we do, I know you do a fair bit of spearfishing as well. But do you do any other sort of specific training to stay ready for these like mental waves? Because they don't get much more extreme than this. I don't think they get any more extreme than this.
I've never trained in my life for surfing.
I had a feeling that's what you say. So you do nothing, breath holds, nothing. You just live really, because obviously spearfishing, that's pretty taxing. And you're
Yeah,
working
I
on your breath
guess.
hold and that sort of thing.
Yeah, they go hand in hand. They definitely help for sure. And like I said, it's just exposure. Like you spend enough time in the water and have an understanding for it. Like it's more mental than physical. You know, like
Yep.
I know I could name a few boogers that are well over the 100 kilo mark, and they absolutely rip and probably charge harder than half the surfers in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you
Yeah.
can't say it's a fitness thing.
Yep.
It's definitely more like fitness. Obviously, definitely helps and whatnot. But yeah, big time. It's a mental thing, which is a lot of in top tier sports. I think across the world, doesn't matter what it is. The best of the best. It's usually because they're mentally strong.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, let's get into these stories, mate. And I think you know the first one that's coming. So I want to start with this session at the right. I'm pretty sure it was your first session. I'm going to bring up the video, but I want to know about the trip itself first. Like, how do you plan for a wave on the other side of the country you had never been to before? Because it's no local beach break, this one. So how did that all come together?
Um, God, this is jogging my memory. So I think there was a swell for South Oz for another wave that I hadn't surfed yet that I was keen to, and I guess I kind of was like, if I chase this particular wave, I'll never chase the right. It was almost like I psychologically knew I'd be scared of it forever. Because and I even said to one of my good mates years ago, he always brings it up to me. He goes, you didn't go, yep, I'm going straight to the right. He goes, you wanted to tick off a few boxes. So I think I said to him, I wanted to tick off ship sterns. I wanted to tick off Chopu. I wanted to kind of dip my toes into a few different big waves before I went to, in my opinion, kind of the mecca when it comes to big waves. And I think what I mean by that is just the consequences there compared to all those other waves is way higher than all the other joints, essentially. So yeah, I think I was watching that, and then I think it was just like a spur of the moment, last minute, just like bang, like just book tickets, less thinking, more doing, kind of thing. And I've always, I guess, kind of been like, I don't like to tell people what I'm up to, and that's probably where I guess the secretive side of things come out.
Right.
I'd rather just go and do it, because if you tell people, like for example, go back a bit, my first trip to Tahiti, I told like a few close mates, and they were like, "What are you doing? It's out of your depth. You're gonna die. You're gonna drown." So I was on the plane going over, just like melting into my seat, just going like, "Oh, what am I doing? Like this is." I'm gonna fail. Like this is, I can't do this. I thought I'd just freeze when I got over there, and then I got over there, and still to this day, it's probably one of the best sessions of my life. So it's yeah, and I guess kind of with that in mind, don't listen to others. If you've got your mind set at it, like go full steam. I believe it's cliche to say, but you can do anything you put your mind to, and I think I've kind of proven that time and time again.
You've definitely proven it.
Yeah, so I guess, yeah. However, I can't remember exactly how it come together, but I remember, yeah, like I said, there was a swell in South Oz where I was kind of like focusing on that, and then I was like, nah, like if I chase that, I'll never go to the right. Like it'll kind of spook me forever. And I guess at that time, I was kind of like, how far can I go? Where am I going to push it? Um, yeah. And anyway, fast forward a bit, got over there. I think I had linked up with Tim Bonython, um, drove down, and leading up to like these things, I used to have pretty sleepless nights before big swells, you know, tossing and turning, thinking of worst case scenarios and all that type of jazz, which I'm sure a lot of other people, you know, go through these days. Like I said, it's not even a thing. Yeah, and we got out there first thing, and I remember Tim going like, "Get out there, mate!" And I was just like, the first lump that come through, I didn't even know how big it was, and I was kind of like, "Geez, that moves fast." Because one thing with the right too is everything that you see of it is slow motion. It
Yeah.
doesn't move that slow. It's one of the fastest moving slabs in the world, in my opinion. Like it throws so fast and quick, and because it's such a small patch of reef, like it's just short and intense. But anyway, Tom Ford, I wouldn't say a local. There's not really many. Like when people go, oh, they're the local for the right, they live 2 to 3 hours away from it. Like there's no actual locals. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
let's just say Tom is a bodyboarder from WA.
As
He
local as
lives
it
about,
gets.
yeah, he lives 10 hours away. So the local, the local Tom.
Yeah.
But yeah, he kind of jumped out, and I was just like, oh, like far out. People must like kind of paddle this all the time, I guess, or like you know, he was straight into it, so I just followed cue. And then we kind of had a session in the morning, caught a few waves, and I don't even know if I made any that whole. I think I made some, but nothing noteworthy. But yeah, just every wipeout I had, I was coming up seeing stars, and I was just, but it was weird. I'd be coming up seeing stars, but I didn't feel like it was like they were crazy wipeouts, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. Um, and yeah, I don't know how long we surfed for, maybe 2 hours or something, and then what happened? I think the tide started to come high, and there were these bunch of kids that slept on the headland, and they paddled out around high tide, and thankfully it slowed down because they started surfing it. I'm talking they were catching Warwick cappers. Like the wave would come in, pick up, and it'd just kind of barely spill over.
Yep.
Like I don't even know if a proper wave broke while they were out there, and they kind of obviously got exhausted because they'd probably had a shit night's sleep on the headland, paddled out, etc., etc. Um, and then yeah, they went in or got a lift in or whatever happened, and then I guess a few waves, like just a few random big ones, come through that had been the best of the day at the time. And I guess there was a lot of chatter in the lineup going like, "Oh, you can't paddle it now," like da 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 da. And I guess at this time too, I was just like real hungry to push the limit wherever I turned up, and yeah, as soon as I heard that type of negativity, I was just like, oh, like here's your humble pie. You can go and eat it. And God, did I did I eat the humble pie at the end of it all? um, yeah, so I jumped off the ski, paddled a few waves. I think just got flogged like pretty standard for that session. And then yeah, I tried to this lump come through, and I looked at the skis, and I was like, wow, they're not paddling it. And I was like, this is the one I come for. Like, you know, just head down. And so I'd paddled like 3 to 4 meters in from where you want to be sitting. Because it moves so fast, it's got
Yep.
to it's got to pick up and throw. And so I've paddled 3 or 4 meters in. And I
Yep.
was like, look, I better check and make sure the skis aren't towing. Um, and then if they're not, like I'll just balls to the wall, head down, bum up, and just paddle my little ass off as hard as I can, and just see where I can get with this thing. And in doing so, I've turned around and I've just seen this ski start hooning towards me, and I was just like heart sink moment was just like, oh my God, like what's about to happen now? And then I've turned around and tried to, I guess, cover the ground that I'd essentially lost or made. I remember looking Henry in the eye, not that I knew Henry at this time. It just like he was that close to me, and instead of duck diving, I just bailed my board, like pushed it to the side and just like kind of creeped under it. And then as I've popped up from doing that, that's the wave that I've recently posted, and we've all seen the frame grab, I'm sure.
We've all seen the frame grab. It is disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. So I don't know if you can see this here, Shane, or not, but anyone who's listening to this podcast on Spotify, jump onto the video version now and check this out. Like, this is. Can you see that, Shane? Not that you
Yeah, I can
need to.
see.
Like, you were there. But that's you down the middle there. Like, fuck. What do you like? I don't even know what to say about that. So this is the second wave. Yeah, this is after you dived under the first one.
No, so I didn't. The first one I wouldn't even count as a wave. So you'd say it
Right.
was a 4 wave set, and I missed the first set. Is
Okay, so you
probably the
paddle back
best.
over it.
Yeah, so like I more duck dive the ski, and as I've popped up, that's why I'm in that position, because the ski's gone through, and like I said, I pushed my board to the side, and then I've gone to ditch my leash, and as I'm trying to ditch it, I'm freestyling to get out of position, like to get under this thing, and it's
Yep.
got caught on my elbow because I'm freestyling. And that's where I've just been like, I don't have time to play around with trying to pull that off. Like, it's coming with me kind of thing. And then, as you can see in the footage, I kind of half-heartedly try and swim under it, get sucked to the top.
What
Um,
the fuck?
yeah,
So
suck.
you've dived under there. Run me through this.
Yeah, so I've dived under it. I've got sucked over the falls, and I don't really remember all 3 waves going over my head, if I'm being totally honest. A lot of
Right.
the rest of this story, I guess, I've been told through those that were a part of it. But I do remember a part being pushed so deep that I remember opening my eyes because I was in clear water, like I wasn't getting thrown around. And I was like, this is kind of strange. I've never had this feeling. And I remember looking up to watching turbulent water. And I don't know whether I tried to like swim up into it and it just picked me up and spat me back out, or I just stayed there until I guess I surfaced. But that's kind of, I guess, my last memory before. Yeah, I never blacked out. I was totally conscious, but I don't remember anything after that.
Fuck.
Yeah, so Henry's come back in to save us. Apparently, everyone was screaming at Henry, "Get back in there!" And Henry was like, "Why am I getting back in there?" Like, he obviously hadn't computed that I'd gone over.
Was he on a jet
Um,
ski or was he paddling as well? He was out there paddling.
no, Henry was the guy that towed Jake
That's right.
into the wave that I tried to
Yep.
paddle.
Yep.
Um, and then, yeah, so I think he picked, I can't remember. I think he was the one that picked me up and apparently, like, put me on the back of the ski and I was just lifeless. I think they were trying to talk to me, but I was pretty non-responsive. But I was obviously sitting upright and, like, I was fine. It's not like I drowned or anything like that. Um, and then I ended up, apparently, I was sitting on the ski, hadn't said anything to anyone, just stood up on the ski, jumped back in the water on my board, and paddled to the ski that I guess, went out on. And I was sitting or laying on the sled of that ski. And I think if, like, every so often, I think people were coming and checking up on me. And apparently I was just pretty non-responsive and just staring into the abyss or whatever I was doing. I don't, don't remember. And then I think I must have had my head down, like laying on the ski mat, like kind of like that. And water was slapping in my face. And this is kind of, I guess, where a little bit of my memory come back, because it kind of felt like I was in a dream, like I was very like woosari. And I remember looking over and I was just like, wow, that's an amazing barrel. Like some guy just got blown out of like a 20-footer. I was like, this is like a kind of a dream. And then anyway, I think fast forward and then I was like, oh, like I'm gonna go and try and paddle it. And then I can't remember who, but someone was like, no, you're not going back out there. And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, do you know what just happened? And I was like, what? And anyway, like I kind of just surrendered to them telling me not to go out in a sense, and was just like, okay, like, and this is, I was still, like I said, it felt like I was in a dream. I don't really remember the ski ride back to the inlet. I don't even remember going back to the pad and having a shower or anything. I just remember vaguely walking into the pub, which is where everyone kind of meets after a session there. And a photographer, Ange C-Mac, he goes, "Where's Shane?" And I remember hearing that and just like kind of slouching into my chair, just going like, "Oh no, what have I done? Like I don't know what I've done." And he's like, "Are you okay?" And I kind of just like very shy and awkwardly like laughed and was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And he was just like, "Mate, that's the most fucked thing I've ever seen happen to anyone out there." And mind you, before I jumped off for this session, the last wave I seen before paddling out was Ange trying to do, I think he was trying to do double toes with someone, got sucked over the falls, like fell as soon as he like let go of the rope and just got sucked over and come up. I don't know if he perforated his ear, but he had blood, a bloody nose, and maybe blood coming out his ears. Um, and yeah, and then fast forward, I'm at the pub and he's kind of said that to us. And yeah, I hadn't even seen that photo that you've got on the screen. I hadn't seen any of this. I had no idea. And then I think maybe the next morning I woke up and when I seen Tim had posted that frame. And at this time, whenever I'd travel, I wouldn't go on social media for the whole time I was away. So not that anyone really picked up on that, but if you wanted to work out if I was on a trip and you tried to contact me and didn't get a response, yeah, I was probably doing stuff. But anyway, I remember glancing at, like, Tim had just kind of thrown it in my face, going, "Wow, I've never had so many likes." And I was just like, like, whoa, like, what the hell? And I just remember a brief glance at the caption. It was like Shane Ackerman bodyboarder nearly died or something like that. And I was just like, oh shit. Like, family at home's gonna see that. God damn it. I've got to turn my phone off flight mode to, I guess, contact home and say I'm okay. And it took my phone 20 minutes before I could use it. Like my phone was just like bing, 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 bing. It was just going nuts. Like obviously so many messages coming through and probably people continually trying to reach out. And it's not like anyone at home had Tim's number or anyone in WA because I'd never been there and didn't know anyone. Um, yeah, and then obviously, I think it took half a ring and mum was like, "Hello," kind of thing.
Yeah.
She's like, "Are you all good?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I'm fine."
Why wouldn't I
And
be?
yeah, exactly. And we kind of had a bit of a laugh and stuff like that. And she goes like, "Did you nearly die?" And I was like, "Honestly, I don't even know."
Your
Um,
poor mum.
yeah, well, I think it rattled her for a very long time. And I found that out later on in time,
Yep.
like, catching up with family. Or I think my auntie said to us one time, she's like, "Your mum, I've never seen her so worried." But go back a bit on that. I don't tell my parents. I don't tell anyone. Like I said, I just go, "Oh yeah, I'm going here." I wouldn't give them details of what I'm doing. I just like, they know I'm going surfing. They don't know to what extreme, I guess, but
Shane Ackerman surfing.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
3 foot Hawaiian.
Yeah. And then what happened? Like, it's obviously gone super viral. I do want to come back to this wave, but what happened after that? So, because you didn't put the video out, I don't think until recently. This is the first I've seen it.
Nah, this is the first time anyone's seen it. Was kind
Yep.
of, I guess it got filmed it got featured in my Yeti film. That was kind of the
Yes.
first snippet of it. But because of the way they pieced that Yeti film together, I guess it doesn't really stand out. It kind of just shows it like that Yeti reel. A lot of it's just a wipeout reel, I guess. There are a few ways where they cut, and I actually do make them, but like the next thing that it goes to, it's like me falling out of the lip, and it's like, well, we didn't make that. So it kind of looks like there's a few ways I probably make, but almost looks like I'm just maybe in a perfect closeout. Um, but yeah, what happened after that? I came home, and I was home for 24 hours maybe. Hopped in the car and drove to South Oz and went and surfed that wave that I was originally looking at going and surfing.
The step up to this wave.
Yeah,
Is that the one?
Yeah, I wouldn't even compare the two, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, chalk and cheese, Kitty's corner and Big Daddy's corner. Um, yeah, and then I was in South Oz for like 3 days or something like that. I think I come home, I did like 2 night shifts, and then I went to, I'm going to say I went to Skeleton Bay for the first time.
Oh, I want to get into that story.
Yeah, so I went there, and so like I hadn't even processed that wave at the right properly. I'd just come home and it was just like more swell, bing bong, like just. And
Business as
so I
usual.
yeah, and I went to Skeleton and I was there for however long, 10 days or whatever. Came back, did a couple of days of work, and then flew to Tahiti. Surf chopes, came back, home was firing, and then maybe posted or talked about it. So it was like a 5 week period where everyone was like still fixated on this wave and what had happened. But for me, I'd done so much traveling and so much surfing that I'd kind of already like moved on, I guess, from it. Like I was like, oh yeah, like cool, whatever. Um, yeah, and I don't know if I'd say it was a way of me processing it all, but it was I don't know. I guess that's just what I do. Like I just love chasing waves or chasing fish. So if there's a weather window and it's something in a location I want to go and get after, like I don't ask questions. I just try and get the logistics behind me and make it happen.
Bloody magic. Well, I got one more question on this before we move on from this particular wave. Well, I've got a couple actually. So first off, who filmed this?
Tim Bonython,
Tim Bonython, he filmed it. And
he filmed
he
it.
held on to it, which is like, I imagine that would have been bloody tough for him to not just put the
I
whole thing out there.
honestly, we never even talked about not posting it online. He posted the frame. I'm guessing he
Yep.
got his fix. He got his dopamine like fix, clicks, whatever. And I guess he was in Tahiti with us. I guess he just quickly moved on from it, and like it for sure is the most bizarre Tim Bonython interaction I've ever had, in the sense of him not just blowing it out online with the footage. I don't know if it was like I personally don't remember if we had the conversation of me saying, "Hey, let's not release this," or whether out of respect, because we all joke that Tim's going to film someone die. He just always pushes record and just films everything. And I guess this is living proof that no, Tim panicked. Like as the footage goes on, and I go over the falls. I think I cut it, but the camera actually comes down into his lap and he stops recording. So
Oh, right.
you
I
only
didn't take
see
notice
that.
of that.
Yeah, well, so you only see that like me get sucked over or whatever you see in that. You don't
So,
actually see
so
the other
just
two
there.
waves.
No, that's right. You see
Yeah,
this first
but I
wave.
think
Yep.
there's a drone clip of that
Yeah, it cuts
wave,
it there.
and you can
Yep.
see the two waves stacked behind it.
Right.
So I don't even know who filmed that or where that is, but that like ages ago, I remember seeing a drone frame, but the frame wasn't posted like, oh, this is Shane Ackerman duck diving, like. But I looked at that frame that you've got on the screen and matched it with the drone thing, and it's like, yeah, that's the same wave.
Yeah, okay. Jeez, I'll have to check that one out. But then, so I guess, and back on Tim, like he's filming these waves, and he gets the craziest footage. Like you chase swells, he chases swells to film them. So it's no secret
Yeah,
these waves are life threatening. So good chance
for
it'll happen
sure.
one
Oh,
day. My last sort of question here, Shane, is jog your memory a bit. What I know one thing, and it's that when you're out in the surf and you see a photo or a video of that surf, they don't compare. Like it's a whole different experience when you're out there. But what is it like here? Looking at this wave, you come up. I mean, you're pretty confident you're going to get sucked back over it. What does this view look like to you? What is going through your mind? Because I guess one thing here is where it's breaking. It really shows the thickness of this wave with the jet ski sitting up the top there. So, what's this vision like for you? What is going through your mind in just this second, if anything?
I don't actually think it looked that big in my eyes because it's so high above me and I'm essentially freestyling to get under it. Your head's only just looking at the water surface in front of you, not actually looking up at the the mountain that's coming. And I think the craziest thing about that whole frame or video or whatever you want to call it is the fact that there's guys on jet skis gives it a crazy scale.
Yep, it's mental. It's like that guy sitting up the top there. You can tell they're all looking at you. They go, "Fuck, what's about to happen here?"
Yeah. Oh, I think like obviously at the right, there's always that story that gets told if I turn up. There's every time I go to Shippies, there's like, there's a
He's
story
here.
down there. Yeah, there's a story because I remember swearing at Marty Paradisi back in the day, asking if he's fucking going on a wave I got years ago, and
Yeah.
he didn't even reply to me when I said it. And then, fast forward every time I kind of see him, we always reminisce on it. He goes, I still remember looking down that thing, just going like, what the hell is this guy doing?
Oh, it's funny, isn't it? They're legends down there too. And even them, man, like they say, the bodyboarders are the craziest blokes in the lineup. They're the best to watch everything.
Yeah. And even like,
Probably referring to you.
Nah, there's some mad cats down there for sure. It's not, yeah, I'm only a 1% club down there, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're all maniacs down there.
Yeah, they're very unhinged.
So have you taken the ride on again? You have since then, have you? With success or more success?
I surfed it like, I think I got it 2 months after all of this, or 3 months
Oh,
after.
shit.
I went back. Yeah, I ended up falling out of the lip. I borrowed Kirby's inflation vests. I think I did. I fell out of the lip, kind of essentially done a front flip, landed on my back. It pushed me deep. But honestly, like the wipeout, it was intense. Like every wave at the right is intense if you fall. But I actually just pulled the vest just to purely test it out and just see what it was like.
Pulled it for a bit of fun.
Yeah, pretty much. But I made a few that next time I went, but it was a quarter of the size. Like, I think the bombs were 12 foot, which,
Quarter of the
for the
size.
general public is quite big,
It's
but for
fucking
the
huge.
right, like, yeah, but 10 to 12 foot's like just breaking over there. Like it needs to
Right.
be that big to even do its thing.
Yep. Well, it's a mental wave, mate. I've been stinging to hear this one direct from you for a long time. Like, I'm going to let that play out, and then we'll move forward. I could talk about this all day, but we'll move forward. So you mentioned on this one, you went to Skeleton Bay, and that was the second story I sort of wanted to run through here. So I've got a bit of a video here of Skeleton Bay as well, but obviously it's a bit more mellow in the water, probably just as sharky, but it's a much more extreme journey, I guess, to get to, I think. So tell me a bit about that wave and what it takes to get there.
Skeleton's a funny one. Hey, there's always the stories of it's a mental, crazy place to get to, but within the reality of it is it's not actually that hard to get to. It's so far away from all of us. That's more so what it is. It's the
Yeah,
travel to
right.
get there that's the hard part. Like it's, you know, 30 plus hours, 36 hours in travel, 3 flights, 3 flights from Oz. You land in the town of where it is. But the hardest thing is the African airlines are useless, absolutely useless when that wave turns on. No one's boards ever turn up on time, or very rarely. Like everyone's constantly trying to borrow gear. So whenever I've flown, I think I've done it 3 times now, I'll pack my wetsuit and flippers in my carry-on so that at least if I get there, all I need to do is find a bodyboard and I can move forward and actually surf. Thankfully, my gear's always turned up. I did in 23 when I went, we had boards delayed, but we went 3 days prior to the swell, which ended up putting us there, I think 24 hours or a day before the swell. And at the time, like I remember Russ hit me up. He goes, "Are you going?" And back and forth logistics and stuff. And I said, "Yep." He goes, "I'm going to leave it another day before I book flights." I said, "Well, You do what you want, mate, but from my experience, you want to get there early because there's a good chance we're not going to get our bags and we're going to need those days to essentially hustle to get our bags. And you're dealing with people that they don't care. Like they're real lazy. They're just like if you go, hey, can I have a hand? They just point you to the next person, point you to the next person. It's just pass the parcel. Like finding anyone over there that's willing to give you a hand, especially with luggage stuff, is like a needle in a haystack. It's painful. So if you ever go to Namibia, my hot tip is buy air tags. It might be your saving grace.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's just a pain in the ass.
Just a pain in the ass.
Yep.
Logistically, it's not too hard. 3 flights. You can go to a travel agent if it's too hard for you to book. Um, and time 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 zone changes is like I guess the exhausting side of it all. But yeah, it like you stay in Walvis Bay and what is it, 25 minutes to 45 minutes until you're at the wave.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like it's
Okay.
not, and like 20 of those minutes, it's like 10 minutes driving through the town, and then it's 25 minutes on a beach,
Yep.
and then like yeah, it's not hard to get to.
But then you get to the wave, right? And I'll pull the wave up. And as you know, social media's got a way of making things look a way that they may or may not be. It looks like a perfect wave. And the barrel on this, you make this barrel actually, which is pretty cool. Tell, tell me about the wave itself, because from what I think I've read something you put up before about basically it's just a shitload of paddling, it's crazy rips, everything just to get a wave. So run me through the whole experience there and
Well,
actually bodyboard.
so the sand that you're walking up is like kind of angled on like say a 45-degree angle. So one, your right hip or your left hip is like because you however many laps you do, that starts to ache because you're not walking on solid flat ground.
Oh,
The water's 14 degrees from memory, which is cold when you first hop in, but because you're doing so many laps, you actually warm up and it's not that bad, and you're in 4 mil wetsuits and stuff. There's a current that's ripping. Some people try and fight it for a bit just to hold on to a certain bank that might be doing the that might be the best part of the wave, whatever it is. You can jump out, you can paddle out there and you could say, for example, you paddle out, and as you're paddling out, there'll be 20 people still walking up the beach 300 meters down from you. The time you get out, those 20 people follow, once they get up to the point, jump out. If you haven't caught a wave by the time they're all out the back, you got those 20 people above you, you're probably not even going to catch a wave that whole run. Like you got to
shit.
have a bit of a strategic plan. Um, not every wave's perfect out there. You don't actually hop out of the car, get a dreamy float out there and get a minute pick guaranteed. Like you've got to work for it. It's like, you know, on any given day, if you're surfing kind of sun up to sundown, you're doing basically half marathon to a marathon equivalent.
Jesus.
So, getting off the jet lag, sitting on planes for 3 days, if you're not even like if you're only half fit, you're gonna hurt. You know what I mean? Like I think a lot of people just think you go to Skeleton Bay and you're guaranteed a minute pit, but man, it's hard work, but it is one of the most surreal, funnest, craziest experiences that you'll ever do surfing, whether it's bodyboarding, surfing, whatever it is. Like that is the most wildest barrel riding. It almost wrecks barrel riding for you because a 10-second pit anywhere in the world is like, oh my God, wave of a lifetime for most people. You go there and you've got the chance to have a minute plus. Like it's like you're in a video game. It's like playing you riding. Like you're going in it for so long, you don't realize how fast you're going until like you got to get through a chandelier section or whatever it is, and you're hitting it at so when I first ever went there, I remember driving the beach and I was looking at the speedometer and I was going between 50 and 55 kilometers an hour, keeping up with the wave.
Jesus.
And I was like, there's no way a bodyboard can, like, that's too fast. And then you
Yep.
go out there and you're making them and you're like, wow. So I'm going like 50, 55 Ks an hour.
For 1 minute.
Yeah. Like insanity. Like you've got time to breathe. You've got time to think. There's no, like, I've never experienced it anywhere in the world where you've got that, you know, that idea of like thinking, or you like start looking around and like you do shit that you've never thought of, or you start thinking in a barrel where you've never thought in a barrel before. You know what I mean? And like you can only see like say a couple of meters in front of you because the swell is like coming into the bay like that and wrapping. So at least on a bodyboard, because we can't pump as good as surfers, if you try and stall going, oh, like I'm not deep in this section, I'll stall, I'll do a spin, whatever it is, that next section could be a whole barrel section. And if you've stalled, you've just like, you're not going to make it. So on a bodyboard, you kind of just got to race the whole thing and just hope that the wave that you're getting is hitting the right banks and you're just trucking through each section. And then if you get to the end of the point and you've rode for too long, it ends up going into like a closeout section and you can't bust drive. It just kind of holds you there and then it can suck people out to sea. So that can be like pretty scary if you're not used to it, because that's the other thing with skeleton is, you know, if I'm going to the right, if I'm going to ship sterns and stuff like that, normally we're all unhinged going there, you know what I mean? Like, whereas Skeleton Bay is like appealing for all abilities basically. So that if you get to the end of the point and there's this current taking you back out and, you know, this hectic 6 foot shory or whatever it is kind of holding you there, dumping you, like a lot of people, you know, panic. And there's no lifeguards like in Australia that are going to come and bay watch you out of there.
Straight out to sea.
Yeah, but like like I said, it's one of the craziest experiences I've ever done, and unfortunately, the banks aren't what they used to be at the moment. I'm sure they will come back, but how many years? How, you know, it's Mother Nature. Who knows? But
So it's all just a natural moving of it.
yeah, yeah. If you
Yep.
go on Google Earth and you go to like the early 2000s, it wasn't even there, and then you know
Oh,
you go.
well.
Yeah, you go year by year, and all of a sudden you just see it form like clear as day, and it's like, wow, like that's amazing.
Is
But
that
yeah,
just all the sand moving around? Because they get big sandstorms and all sorts of things over there.
yeah, well, you got to drive through a salt plain.
Right.
So whether that has an effect on it, whether it's the sandstorms, I'm not sure. Like, there's probably a thousand different factors, and obviously because I only go there a handful of, like I've only been there a handful of times, I don't really know all the effects of
Yep.
why it's wrecked and stuff like that. Could be lack of swell or it could be too much swell. I'm not sure as well.
Yep. Did you ever go
Yeah.
all that way and get skunked or anything?
Yeah, I went last year and got skunked because I didn't I thought I got told that the banks were good, the swell was good, but the banks, that was the start of the end, I think, for it. The banks were shit, and yeah. I mean, you could still surf it, but it wasn't, when you've had it as good as I guess it gets.
Yep.
Going back for what I did last year, I don't even think I told. I didn't talk about it and like nothing.
Yeah. Just
So
kept it
yeah,
quiet. It's an insane
yeah.
wave.
Oh, I think one thing I do love about Skeleton too is I get to keep my footage and have my say of when I get to post it.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I didn't even think. Because you got
You know what
that stick on the back of the board, don't you?
Yeah. So like, you know,
Which is mad.
we were talking about the right, and that was when I first ever went there.
Yep.
I didn't even post that I'd been to Skeleton Bay. Like for years, no one even knew I'd been there
Yep.
for a very, very long time. And then obviously 2023 was like the craziest swell event I've ever been to. We had like Kelly Slater there, JOB, Craig Ando, Harry Bryant, Russ. Like, I don't even, like, the funny thing is I barely follow bodyboarding as a sport. When it comes to surfing, I have no idea who anyone is. Like, I love surfing. I love getting barreled, and I know, you know, people within that, but I don't actually really follow any of it as that intently, to be honest. I'm kind of just, you know, I'll look for the swells I want to chase, and outside of that, I'm looking for dive windows and kind of just, like I said, keep in my own lane and, yeah, block out the rest.
Do it for yourself, hey?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Well, mate, look, you've been all over the world chasing crazy shit. Is there one wave you haven't chased, or one Everest that you haven't climbed yet? Just one out there at the top of your list you've never done.
Um, Probably
Oh,
Mulgamore.
that's Ireland, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I went there in February this year, which no one knows about, but they will now.
You're a madman. And no good? Or not to
No, I've
talk about
definitely
yet?
no, I've definitely scored, but it just no swells for Mully turned up while I was there.
Yep.
And then a swell did come up for it, but I had to fly back for the film festival.
Oh, for the Yeti one?
Yeah, yeah. So I'd kind of committed to a few, like, I guess, Q&As and stuff like that, and yeah,
Yep.
whatnot. But whatever, I'll be back.
Because that's big waves, cold water.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Outside of that, not really, not that I can think of. Like, I'm sure there is something out there, but yeah, I don't know. Honestly, don't know. Kind of one of
Well,
those things, like, I feel like I've definitely ticked off a lot of things. Like chopes, I still just want to scoop one. I just really want to scoop a big one. I don't have to make it. I just want to be able to successfully get to the bottom of it. And the hardest thing is whenever they've turned up, those ones I've caught, they're like frantic. They're kind of out of nowhere, which, you know, is pretty standard for that type of stuff. It's so hard. Like a lot has to come together. It's not just, oh, Shane's just hucking himself over. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah, so that one, I guess, is still there. I guess there's a few waves that I guess I've already ticked off, but I just want to do it properly, do
Right.
it my way, not so much the kamikaze way, I guess.
That is your way.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, if I post a photo of me making a wave or something looking pretty, it probably wouldn't even get attention.
Oh, I'm hearing you. Well, that's good, mate. Look, I've watched you from a really, really safe distance for a long time now, mate. And like, I've drawn a lot of inspiration from your whole no barriers approach to life. Like, so much like that really did inspire this whole, I guess, world tour thing we're doing. We're just going fishing with people. I'm not going surfing with you. But hopefully we get to get to wet a line one of these days, mate. So I got to thank you for everything you do, showing us what's possible when you actually have a dig, and like it's straight inspiration fuel to me.
No,
So
I think that's one thing I guess I've taken from the Yeti film, and a big thanks to Keith and the boys at Bimarian and Yeti is like, for me personally, that's just how I've always lived my life, and I've never viewed myself as anything bigger. But I guess I've had a lot of messages of, you know, it's inspired people to do things and stuff like that, and that's really cool and humbling to hear. I don't personally, I don't feel like I do anything. Like I just feel like an average Joe. Like I said, because I go to work, I guess that's probably where a bit of my chip going back a bit with surfing, like because they're pros and they think they're like kind of entitled in their egos. That's probably where I have a bit of I feed off their fear because I'm just like, mate, I'm an average Joe just like you, but you feel like you're better than us, like back of the line, son.
Mate, that sums you up. I bloody love it. And look, I can't wait to have you back on. I had to limit it to those couple of stories because, like I said, I could talk to you for all day. I could listen to you tell some of your stories because you got so many more. And I'm going to put that Yeti film in the caption, in all the posts, whatever we do, we'll put it in the links and everything. So check it out. And anyone who hasn't seen Shane's stuff, fishing or not, you can appreciate what he does, even if you don't have an understanding of what bodyboarding really is. So 100% check it out. You're a madman, Shane. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us, mate. It's been a long time coming.
It has been, but we got there.
We definitely did.
Thanks, Shane. I appreciate it, mate.
Too easy. Thanks, mate.